Memory is defined as storing and remembering information. It can be anything, like a paperclip remembering its original shape, or a dog knowing when it's time to eat. Some people are able to hold on to memory better than others. There are some people who learn efficiently through speedrunning study materials in a handful of hours. And there are people who effectively get information only by studying it across days, weeks, or even months. There are even different sections of memory. Your brain likes to pick up on patterns and remember things by single facts and distinguishable and repeated features, like remembering names, facts, faces, and even strategies in muscle memory. Aside from sections, there are different types of memory, too. There is long-term memory, memories that are stored and kept and very hard to forget. Long-term memories typically only stay under this one definition since there aren't many different ways it can function. Short-term memory, unlike long-term memory, is very malleable. Although it is controversial on whether gaining short-term memories causes other, less prominent short-term memories to fade away, this is called chunk capacity limits, or whether short-term memory just fades after a certain amount of time, defined as temporal decay. Either way, short-term memory is very easy to access and very, very easy to forget. Some subsections of long-term memory include primary and secondary memory. Primary memory includes muscle memory and other memories that seem almost robotic. Although it is considered to be somewhat restricted and more focused on cues, it is still very much more permanent than other types of memory. Secondary memory is referred to as knowledge that is almost impossible to forget, like your first language or simple addition. A subsection of short-term memory would be working memory. Working memory manages, manipulates, and uses short-term memory and can be used to plan out stuff and take in information without remembering things word for word. You're using it right now, actually. The only way you really understand what I'm saying right now is by taking in those words and understanding their meaning. Otherwise, working memory is defined as multiple different types of memories working together to function and carry out basically everything. There are different ways to make a memory memorable. For instance, being interested in what you're learning, seeing that the information might be valuable or vital to you, giving attention to that fact or experience, making connections between the new information and old information, and practicing or redoing what you're trying to learn. You've done these various steps with things that you use muscle memory for, like making certain foods, playing a sport, handwriting, or typing on a keyboard. There's lots. Older people usually experience mild amnesia and memory problems, making it harder to learn things the first time and forgetting to do things every once in a while. This doesn't especially happen to everyone, but it's common enough to be seen as normal. Otherwise, newer memories are relatively fragile. Refer back to the relation between short-term and working memory. When remembering things that your brain can't quite recall, somebody could fill in the blanks for you and have you remember things. Your memory is quite malleable at this time though, so you'd believe it even if they weren't telling the truth. Although I did say that very mild memory loss in seniors was common, what I did not talk about was some of the less fun cases. People with MCI, mild cognitive impairment, are defined as people who have more problems with memory than others their age. Some signs of it is losing things often, forgetting events and appointments, and having trouble finding the correct vocabulary than another person of their age. It could also be an early sign of Alzheimer's, but this is somewhat unlikely. Speaking of Alzheimer's, some signs of that is poor judgment and decision-making, problems with time and events, conversational problems, and item misplacement. Although these may be some mistakes people make in their lives to a relatively normal degree, just picture those things but taken to the highest extreme. Dementia is forgetting things to the point that you may not even think or act like yourself anymore. Dementia causes people to forget who they are. Aside from amnesia, dementia also affects one's language skills, sight, visual perception, and attention. There are also some memory disorders found in all ages. Amnesia is a commonly referred to memory-related term and the root effect of all memory disorders. Defined as the describing term for memory loss, everything I've talked about in this section so far has had something to do with amnesia in some way or another. One prominent amnesia-related disorder in the media would be dissociative identity disorder, or DID. DID used to be called multiple personality disorder until the mid-1990s, and is defined as the coexistence of two or more differentiable personality states in one body. To each individual personality or alter, when another alter takes control of the body, they experience this as a lapse in memory or just as plain amnesia. Say, if one alter went to an amusement park and no other alters fronted at that time, only that one alter will remember going to the amusement park. What causes certain alters to front may be specific triggers, like a stressful situation, certain people, or maybe just a song. It can be anything, positive or negative. The cause of DID is said to be chronic childhood stress or trauma. It is not unlikely for a child who is suffering from physical, mental, or even sexual abuse to develop DID. Actually, in America, the percentage of people with DID outnumbers the percentage of people with schizophrenia. Although the vast majority of cases where a body develops multiple people's personalities at once is typically from childhood, there are some cases where adults who have experienced traumatic things, like war, torture, or even natural disasters, have started to nurture different psyches. DID is purely a defense mechanism for people, so whatever makes the brain feel safest, it will do. It is just so disappointing that popular culture typically boxes DID as a trope that is nothing like the actual disorder. Memory is a very interesting and important part of human functioning, and there are multiple ways that it works that is downright fascinating. Some people lose themselves in their forgetfulness, while others find new people within those fragments. From muscle memory to 8-hour all-nighter study sessions, memory works, and it doesn't disappoint.